We're now going to cut into that flat little area. The good news is we already have our paths. If you'll remember, the first one took care of the gatten, but the second one is exactly where we need to put our texture. So let's go ahead and do a textured toolpath with the same exact selections. Double click on Pocket Toolpath and you'll see exactly what you selected. I'm just going to unselect it. My selections are made. This gatten is sort of getting in the way, so I'm going to hide the top layer. This is actually what we're looking at. Everything in this area, in this empty area, and in these little holes, if they're large enough, will get textured. So let's do a texture, shall we? Up here we choose Texturing Toolpath. And let's see what we use for a start depth. We'll leave it at 50 because 0.5 is exactly how deep the top of the bottom of the pocket is. If you can follow me there. The maximum cut depth, we can go 0.1 inches if you like. The maximum cut length, let's try, just for the sake of argument, let's just try 0.25. And we'll do a little calculation here. Now this is going to be a very strange looking sign. Okay, very ugly and completely messed up our first sign. There's a few reasons for that. Let's go back to the texturing toolpath. For one thing, the boundary vector offset was left at 0. That means that our ball nose will eat into every single bit of it because it's going to go right up to those lines. Well, the ball nose bit is 0.375 or 3/8. Half of that is 0.1875. We're going to go 0.1875 as a boundary. So now let's calculate it again and see what happens. Well, we took care of one little problem. It's no longer biting into the letters. We could get a little closer if we want, but let's see what happens if we do. Let's go 0.15. If you'll notice, even at 0.15, although the tip of the bit is hitting closer to the edge, the sides of the bit is already biting into all the letters and messing them up. There's a reason I chose 0.1875 as the boundary. That is the radius of that particular bit, and that is the number you should choose, or choose a smaller bit. The next thing we see is that these little texture, this is not a texture, these are more like little dots. So let's go ahead and see what we can do about it. 0.25 is far too little for a maximum cut length. I'm going to go and do 2 inches, just to show you some difference. Reset preview, and preview all toolpaths. That's an interesting sculpture. I'd like it to go with the grain left to right, not top to bottom. So we choose here 0 degrees and try again. A lot of texturing is learning how to play with the numbers and get it right. If this were a huge sign, 2 inches is just about right. For this little tiny sign, 2 inches, I would say it's not quite attractive enough. I would go 1 inch. And I would probably go a little bit lighter than 0.1. I'd go 0.05. That's a little nicer look, but again, it all depends on your preferences. And now we'll just finish off the frame with a profile cut. And there's our sign. Thank you once again for watching. Here's last week's penguin we did. Notice the feet are at the very top. The sides and everything else is in the middle. You can see that the feet are a little higher than the rest of it, because if you didn't do that, then the feet would blend in with the rest of it. Now we can actually sand it and paint this yellow, and we'll paint this white or black, and etc., etc. Have a wonderful day.